Hello, guys, everyone who are listening to the Behind the Crypto podcast. Nice to have everybody there. And today we're going to talk with Brad Holland about the Web3 marketing and how the space looks like right now. And maybe we can provide some special value for everybody who are just right now are in the process of building crypto startups, or just an observer on the market, or maybe you're an investor, or everybody could take a lot of takeaways from this speech. Brad, hello. How's it going?
Thank you, Vlad. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I'm Brad Holland. I'm a tech advisor and officer for startups, and right now I'm currently working in the Web3 space, supporting a couple of projects that are in the early stages, funding still, raising rounds. I've been in the space for quite a long time. I started in Web 1. I'll date myself really quick. And as an entrepreneur for almost 20 years, I've grown a couple companies, and I transitioned into Web3 as a director at a regulated exchange. Since then, I did growth marketing at a boutique marketing agency for DeFi, Web3, and tech startups. And recently co-founded a project that's just in the very, very beginning stages now, and another Web3 tokenized project that I'll be working on for the rest of the year.
Wow, fascinating. Could you please tell us a bit about your backstory? Maybe you could just tell us a couple of words about how long have you been doing in this space and what have you been doing before?
Yeah, certainly. I have an interesting background. I kind of got off to an early start personally. I was in Web 1, like I said, and got going early in startups in the late 1990s. So that's sort of like where my journey began. And since then, really, I've stayed with the startups, and I like fast-moving projects. I like the action and the intensity at the workday. It's just sort of a home for me. So since then, working in my own agency is basically the capacity in which I chose to start off early on in my career. I had a couple of jobs that just did not like the format, and decided to be a consultant or freelancer from way back in the day. So before it was work from home, I was working from home, and did a little traveling, a little bit of nomadic lifestyle and stuff like that, but remained in a consulting capacity. Always had multiple projects going, and I've worked with several big brands. I've worked for the UN. I have a consulting gig with the World Bank from
Oh.
in other parts of the world. So it's been a mix of things for me, and a mix of different types of clients and engagements. And now, one of the biggest things in happening right now is this Web 2 to Web 3 transition and all the activity in Web 3, right? So one of the cool things is that, evolving in the space and really learning what it's like to have to be able to produce traction and grow and make ideas come to market. So now in Web3, there's a big difference. I think we're going to get into that later on in the show about the difference between how things are going, what investors expect, and the challenges that everyone will face on these journeys of bringing a product to market or bringing an idea to market. So pretty much, as far as like my backstory and my history goes, I've had a couple different trade names, and I've always worked directly with CEOs, and I've worked directly with product teams and early stages in order to really hone down the message, target the right people, and get a communication plan and strategy going.
So what I'm hearing now, all life you've been doing about the marketing stuff and related to the startup building history. And could you please explain just a bit about the main differences between the gates in the Web3 space and about the Web2 space? Because a lot of guys who are active, our listeners behind the crypto podcast, just thinking about the idea how perfect is that to work in the Web3 space and sitting in front of the camera like a Brad on the island in their own house and just relax all the time and take their money, because I just want you to deliver them. There is a quite difficult way, and there is not the easiest way to take some money. Maybe you can provide a bit overview for them.
Yeah, sure. I'll just start from the beginning and summarize all the way up. So, really in the beginning of the web space, there was a huge first wave of the internet, and that was where every entrepreneur, every small business had to have a website. That was building for years. Okay, for my first agency, my first consulting firm, it was all Web 1 development and brand presence and getting things out there on the internet. The next big wave after that was once everyone had a website, they had to be listed on Google. Everybody wanted to be found on Google. There was another half a decade of just intense work and huge deal flow pipeline coming that everyone that could market, had internet content strategies, were getting into their clients, were getting them into Google. After that, social media. Now everyone had to have own channels, organic traction, building their audience, and then going through this work. There was another years of content strategies and development, integration of what you're saying and to who, and building out your communities. And now in Web3, what we're seeing here is that community is the key word in marketing.
Yeah.
A Web3 project, a lot of this is brand new, it's conceptual. We're marketing ideas and concepts that haven't been fully built yet. So you need social proof. You need people to agree that this is a good idea, to validate your market fitment, and be able to show that this is something that's a great idea and people are going to buy into this, and you have loyalty building. And it's one of the hardest things to do is organically grow your community. There's a lot of tricks out there. A lot of agencies and people can pump your numbers and make it look cool for a second. But really, in the end, traction is what it's going to come down to, and some results. So this is going to be the key differentiator between Web 2 and Web 3, is that, in the Web 3 context, if you're not focused on organically growing a healthy, strong community and working with ambassadors and building that, you're going to find a lot more challenges in the future. This is where, you'll start seeing how on the investment rounds, if you work with accelerators or launch pads and stuff like that, they're going to want to see traction. They're going to look, and your presence has to stand up to some investor scrutiny these days, and it has to have some stickiness and FOMO factor built in, and what's going on in your community. And that's where the marketing, make it or break it kind of activity is going to come down to, is how you grow and engage community in the Web3 space.
Yeah, so fascinating about hearing the same way of thinking about the community driving business. And in the Web3, it means absolutely everything, I suppose. I have a question like, does every traditional business have to build some gates to enter in the Web3 space, or just be being burned from the market at all?
Do they have to? No, of course not. They don't have to, but it will be sort of like an evolutionary step, that if you're not part of it, then what would you expect if you were still a Web 1.0 read-only website these days, right? It better be some spectacular content, or else it won't be as an engaging experience as it would be if you were on social media working with influencers, and if you had a raving community around your idea and what you were saying. So as far as that goes, I think that the key thing is going to be, you really have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. You have to know who you are, and you have to have some sort of boundaries about, what kind of brand representation that you're going to take to the market. And when you have that going forward and creating your community,
Mhm.
you'll see how that reflects. You'll have people that are your supporters, and they start becoming, really strong advocates for your brand, and that's where the traction begins.
Absolutely, yeah. So, as we've touched the community question, could you please explain the best picture of building strong community? Because a lot of stuff right now is pretty dirty. It's pretty fully loaded with the bots, with the giveaways, or some bullish shit about that. Maybe you have just the workable ideas about the collecting fresh and live audience inside your community. Maybe you can share the concept of thinking how to do that.
Yeah, really good. And it is changing too. One of the key things to acknowledge here is how fast things are moving and how fast things change. Marketing this year compared to a year and a half ago is different, right? And just, recently you can go out and, do some growth hacking and get a lot of eyeballs on your project. And before it was a quantity game. You can get maximum viewership, and then what you expect is okay, 3%, 5%, that's going to be really relevant and they're going to stick around. So you attract 10,000 and you wind up with several hundred or 800 really loyal, strong people from that action, which, okay, that is growing, but you're also working very hard to attract and retain and educate and engage thousands of people when you're only going to wind up with a few in the end, right? That actually was a good alignment for the product or the community or relevant. So what we're trying to do is play a more precision game. And I personally do a lot of audience development. So I look at, what kind of community members I can tap into, build relationships with key influencers and KOLs, and it's a quality over quantity scope.
Yeah.
So, in order to kick off a good community, what you need to do is connect some dots, right? So if you have a product or you've got a protocol or something that is relevant and you have an existing community, even a small one. I mean, I've had the most success with small active communities over huge, giant crowded groups and rooms.
Yeah.
And what I find is tapping into and aligning myself or the project, whatever, aligning my work with the group of people that are actually authentically engaged around a discussion, and I enter my narrative and I bring people, and people will ask questions. If your answers are strong and you're building confidence among community members, then you start seeing that people start listening. So what we do is we really look to build relationships and come out with an audience defined as far as who our targeting and what our goals are. And from there, we work the relationships and build campaigns. So we do this with up and coming influencers, YouTubers. We do it with group leaders and stuff like that, develop communities already.
Mhm.
And, my approach has not been a macro approach, as far as what I've experienced the most success with. So, I have bought huge influencers in the past as part of campaigns. But like I said, after it's all said and done, some of the most influential and movement generating activity that I performed was an AMA in a group of 200 investors that really wanted to know what was up with my product and asked a lot of hard questions. And after giving them good answers, we saw a lot of activity, like whitelisting and pledging commitments to the investment rounds, joining our Discord, joining our Telegram, and that's actually the end result that everyone is really looking for. And I found that to be in small, precise audiences provided the best results so far.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the way of thinking, and I'm just so curious about the idea of the audience engagements. You can just for free set up for different kind of brands on the Web3 marketing, on the Web3 marketing, sorry, where could provide some places of exchange in the audience, providing some EMA pools or facts or some kind of reward pools for the audience, and provide a value with that. Yeah, 100%. We have seen a lot of born billionaires under Web3 umbrella. How does it work, and does it the best way to get rich in this Web3 market? Maybe you can provide some just ideas and takeaways from everybody who are listening.
Yeah, there's plenty of get rich here. So I've seen founders dump a token. I've seen people, selling services that really didn't exist. I've seen a lot of crazy things and people making a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
But really in the context of, my approach or whatever, how would I plan on getting rich in Web3, so to speak, or what that looks like as far as a roadmap. But there is a lot of opportunity here, a lot of opportunity. And right now, I think that, looking how things are going and how, VCs especially respond to recent conditions and such, that having an authentic idea that actually has some legs to it is going to be the start. You know, if this is something that might have sold a couple of years ago because all you needed was a white paper and a good smooth talker and you're raising money, nowadays, if you look at how much questions are being asked by the VCs, what the requirements are to actually start the conversation sometimes, and, you know, basically proving yourself is going to be more challenging and more challenging. You know, every single time a question comes up that's a requirement from a VC or investor, they're asking that for a reason. They're asking that because, you know, when they didn't ask that, they lost some money perhaps. So now, you know, authenticity is going to go very far, and really having a solid team and all of the scope covered. You'll see that, you know, when trying to raise money and get your idea out there, right, what you're doing is you're building confidence in your idea the entire time, right? So, you know, in that scope, if you're building confidence, the stronger your material is, the stronger your plan is, the more well thought out everything is, the longer the conversations last, and the more you can get someone to see your idea in their head, right? That's what you're trying to do, is get them to have that aha moment and say, okay, I get it. I see what you guys are doing. I can see how this is going to make money. All right, I'm in. So you have to get people to that stage, like mentally and emotionally as well. So, you know, when you're presenting things, you have to show the big picture, right? This could be, you know, a moonshot, whatever, you know, this could be a juggernaut, whatever it's going to be. They could be that. You have to have someone that you see the upside clearly, right? You got to show a little bit, you know, how you're not going to screw it up. And then you have to have, you know, everything else stand up to the scrutiny of people that don't want to lose money, that don't want to be involved in a bad project, and certainly don't want to see a rug or anything of that nature. So really, the more you can do to build confidence, and that is in the people behind the idea as much as the idea. So that'll be something as well, like the core team, what their skills are, you know, where they are at with the project, and how it all comes together for an investor and a retail user.
Yeah, 100% makes sense. So where I'm here now, right now everything is changed a little bit, and that's the quite difficult to raise some funds to provide some live community, and the marketing game from day to day change, market from day to day change. The stack of your hard skills and soft skills could be changed a little bit to be relevant on the market during the most these days. And maybe you observe the utility business ideas that works right now for everybody who are listening to us and want to start and enter in this Web3 space. Probably it will be a services, or probably it will be some kind of product company. Maybe you can just recommend some workable ideas that guys should pay them attention at, and probably score or monitoring some kind of this stuff.
Yeah, certainly. So, you know, any kind of expectation coming into this, right? You basically want to anticipate your listeners' mentality, right? So, you know, I talk to investors every day. I talk to DeFi investors like on the daily. I follow a couple of people, and I'm able to have very candid conversations with some people that give me good feedback. And you can see, like after Celsius, after whatever, a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, you know, you had some OGs that were just tapping out. They're like, guys, you know, who do we trust now? You know what I mean? Like things are just imploding left and right. You thought it was a cool project and now you don't. And you know, things fall apart. So, you know, given that, you know, you're asking the same investors to go into your idea that are out there, that the pond isn't that big, right? So we're not reaching into like new different communities of investors. It's, you know, DeFi investors and VCs that are rocking right now. And as long as any one of them have been part of a project that didn't go well or they were disappointed in, you can rest assured that that's their mentality going into the next engagement. They're going to want to know how they can, you know, see that flag coming. And basically, you know, if there was a bad project, most of the people that were around it have some sort of like, they saw the evidence or the writing on the wall before it happened, right? And they go, oh, okay, in hindsight, I can see it, how it, you know, it was coming. So now they look for those flags in hindsight in the future, right? They're going to say, well, let me see if this is, has any signs of these types of properties for those projects that we're losing money. So, if you have that mentality going into your presentation, your materials, and how you present the project to an investor as well as the retail market too, right? As DeFi investors and end users, you have to go into it knowing that that they need to be reassured and they need to see something. They need confidence in you, and they're going to have all their questions answered. So the better you're prepared to do that, and you're better prepared to present yourself and the people behind your project, the idea, and how well you put it together. The entire course of work is the evaluation, and you are representing your brand from saying hello all the way to the thank you slide on your pitch deck. So when this is part of the process, a lot of people can smile and use big words and sound all hypey and make something sound like it's going to be great. You have to be prepared to have some substance. This is where I would really say that the better you are at having the substance and putting it together for someone else to quickly get onto, that will be a time saver. So if you're able to really efficiently get your idea across and show your pillars and what the USPs are, that would be, an accelerator. And then also talking to people, like you should know who you're talking to, right? In this process, if you're talking to a later stage VC that does big rounds, and you're early, well, maybe you shouldn't talk to that person or that fund or whatever just yet. You want to find someone that goes in early, that is part of these seed and angel rounds, that's smaller ticket sizes and 1 to 2 million for your initial raise. And you want to assemble a body of investment, attract a body of investors this way, rather than just all of them or any of them. And hey, I'm going to go straight to Pantera Capital or whatever it is with your first pitch. So having a strategy, putting it together, understanding your listener, and then really putting a body of work into presenting the substance behind your concept.
Once the fundraising question totally closed for you and you got some funds, you just going forward for trying to test your MVP or trying to build your product for the wide audience, and you facing with the big struggle about the always growing customer acquisition cost. How to fight against them and how to stay productive as a marketer, as a business owner, when everything is fucking increasing. I mean, the customer acquisition cost, the customer follower acquisition cost, member acquisition cost, everybody acquisition cost is fully increased from day to day.
Yeah. So, some of this stuff is basically going to come down to your playbook, right? I know that for excuse me, I got a fly buzzing around me. For some of the work that I'm doing right now, there is always going to be something that's going to be a gamble, right? We're looking at a $150,000 ticket for, KOL campaign, and someone's going to say, oh, it's a 50 influencers. This is what they're going to say, and this is where we're going to say it. And it sounds all good, but also that's pretty high cost for just one vendor, one agent, and something like this. And these things are out there, right? And there's a lot of it, and it's really, really hard to navigate through this. And so what the problem is that you wind up spending some money on something. It could be a big giant YouTube bill or something like that didn't really generate your organic traction that is giving the confidence to investors.
Totally at all.
So it's really hard. And I've had, thankfully, I had some years of experience working in DeFi as in a boutique growth shop. So we worked with a very select group of clients, and we did basically IDOs and launch campaigns and pretty much 90-day run-ups to going big on a product. And we worked with, you had an entire database of agents and vendors and YouTubers and influencers. And one of the things that is the most, I guess one of the biggest insights from me is that data changes. What was a great influencer when they started their channel and they organically nurtured a great audience, an engaged audience, 4 months later is just selling videos now, right? And their audience engagement is going down, the quality of the actual spend is going down, their prices are going up. And so you wind up seeing like, okay, well, that got contaminated really fast. you know, this person was like doing really good work and now they're going for the money, and the output and end result is not as strong for the client. And in that case, maybe for their business it is, but for the client, maybe they're generating less results, but the cost is higher. So in the grand scheme of things, it's really hard. It's really hard not to be caught in any of those traps. There's a lot of people out there selling a lot of products. Shilling, for example, was a big deal for so long. And how many bots are there on Twitter and Instagram these days? Like millions of
Oh my
crypto
God,
bots telling you what project's cool, you know? And we ignore it now, right? How many Telegram messages do you get every day? Like, you just block. Like, no, and every group you're in, somebody's going to try and work it, you know? So it's getting really hard to weed through some of this noise and put together like a really solid campaign for your product. And what I try and do is basically, you know, when I do have something solid working, we have a partner. We've got a VC that's really strong with us, an influencer that's working on us. When I do have traction and I see something growing organically, well, I just put more resources there, right? So I say, okay, let's have a meet with the YouTuber and let's talk and say, hey, let's do a collaboration with you and another influencer. Oh, I haven't done that before. Let me think about it. Okay, here's a new kind of project, and great, we do this, and boom, we get another hit on our community. We just saw some micro pump, and we're all happy, right? So it's more like being creative and looking at what's working, looking at where people are listening and are receptive to what you're saying, and build on it from there, rather than picking blind pockets of macro audiences and just, you know, throwing money and spray and pray and hope you see, you know, a conversion on something like that. That's really going to be something that we're going to have to outgrow and go and look for pure quality.
Absolutely. Almost everybody has been talking about the crypto space and Twitter platform as a crypto-oriented platform to attracting some leads, attracting some community members or something like that. But if you see the influencers through the Twitter platform, and you just can notice that almost 95% is absolutely dirty, absolutely full of bots and loaded with some dirty audience. And how to provide an effective company, effective marketing company through the Twitter space. As we have noticed, there is so many guys fully dirty with the bots and something like that. But everybody is still talking about that Twitter is the best place to advertise. Twitter is the best place of publishing your content. Twitter is the best place to keep your audience updated, or something like that. Just a couple of your thoughts about that.
Yeah, for my first response, like my initial reaction there would be like, there is no one best platform for everyone's goals, just full stop. So there isn't going to be one that reigns over all, like, oh, this would be better on Reddit, this would be better using Telegram or something like that. So first off, I would make sure that you align what it is that you're doing with the platforms that are going to be the best for you and your rollout. The other thing too is that, you know, when it comes to like these bots and how much activity there is an elegant way of using some of those tactics, right? Like no one's really going to look at a post that has no views, right? Or whatever, like no reaction, right? So, or you see a video on YouTube and it just says 1 view. It just, everyone knows, like you hesitate to click, right? So if you see a new video, it just came out, it has 900 views, you're like, oh, okay, click. And there is a value to some of that hack, right? Even though those initial 500 views might have been purchased, it does do something. But then it's on your content. Did you get this person to click through to something of substance? Did you have a quality message? Was it something that was relayed to them to where you got them to get that, you know, initial response and hook you in? And what you're looking for is just one conversion down funnel where you're like, okay, I got a second look. They went to my website, they joined the whitelist, you know, they emailed me, and now whatever, they're down funnel. So, you know, some of these things you just have to use them correctly. If you're just trying, and you just manage the expectation. If you're going to growth hack a number, okay, growth hack a number just for one exact outcome. I just want, you know, people that this video comes out, I want to, increase how many, organic clicks I'm going to get on it, because no one's going to be the first to watch it. It's just a human thing, I guess. I don't know why we like to do things that other people are doing. You know what I mean? We like to go in groups and be part of a movement. So when you inspire that reaction, you might see a bump in your metrics and some of your downstream conversions, but I wouldn't rely on any of that activity. What you rely on is the substance, your communication strategy, your messaging, and your targeting, and all of that is where your quality is. And some of this hacky stuff, you can just say, great, I just got people to just look at it faster, sooner. I just got more activity on the first day than I would have if I didn't do that. So using some of that stuff right, and very lightly, not relying on it to be any part of your main plan.
Yeah, that is one, and absolutely agree with that. What did you understand from your experience? What the projects pay attention to? Probably what is the most important for them when choosing this agency to work with? Because we are touched to the topic as internal teams is good one, but when you're hiring something that's good enough, and the marketing side, the developing side, and the PR side, or whatever else, you have to pay your attention to the checklist they came through, and you have to filter them so proper before they open the gates in your internal team of your company. But probably you have some bullets for our audience about that.
Yeah, the biggest thing I can say is you have to look. Okay, if you approach this with the mindset is that nobody's looking, right? I get a list of 50 influencers that says, okay, we're gonna do retweets and tweets, blah blah, for all these people for your product or campaign, and they're great. Okay, cool. And they give you some Sparktorial number. Oh, I have only 3% fake audience and this much engagement. Okay, great. But if you don't look, that means nobody looked. just keep that in mind, right? If I keep that as a base principle, that by the time it gets to me, the person selling it to me, the person that made it for them, the person my company that gave it to me and finally got to me, if I think that somebody checked this and vetted everybody, it's just not even possible.
Yeah, so one here and there that you have to look and filter everybody that you work with, or you probably want to work with, and pay all your attention about the pre-warm and about the pre-signed of some contract studies, and look and look. Brad, a lot of guys who are listeners to Behind the Crypto podcast are founders, CEOs, or advisors, or owners of the agencies, other type of agencies, marketing, development side, NFT studio, or something like that. What does the market of agencies will look like in probably 2 or 3 years? Who will stay on the market, and based on that?
Okay. So as far as an agency goes, like I said, things move very fast, right? And this, like I've had times where we maintained our own database of influencers and had VAs going through and scrutinizing, scoring, and ranking them, and putting things together in our success notes. But like I said, if you stop doing that as a discipline and you go back to that same channel, it's changed. It's changed. What they're saying has changed. What they're about has changed. So really, to be an agency is really, really hard. To deliver consistently improved results as an agency is very hard. You have to spend half your time revetting everyone you're working with to make sure that that's going to be a good, solid fit for the next project, right? At times in agency, it's really easy to just say, okay, well, that worked, and I'm just going to resell the same thing. Okay, boom. But was that aligned for your next client? Was the product identical?
Yeah.
Was the audience, the most relevant? Who knows?
Absolutely everything
So
from client to client, and that's the difficulties in these times. Yeah.
yeah, one of the things that I found, especially most recently, like in the last year and a half, um, sorry, the last year and a half, I've been working with a dedicated team, and this is where, like, sorry, I'm gonna fly. This is where we found that the most care and results combination happens, right? When you're a team and you're working with an in-house project, or you're dedicated to a project, even for a short runtime for launching or first year, What you're going to find is that if you're working from an in-house capacity, you have a different approach, right? If you're an agency, you really want to sell your service and your product, and that you're going to fit into your timeline and what you want for your agency. And the client is sort of a means. Now, if you're an in-house team and you're working directly for a project and you're sort of closer into the inner circle there, you actually defend the business first, not your agency.
Hmm.
So the team member concept, we would go through and say, okay, well, great. I'm going to scrutinize this list of people we're going to work with, whether it's KOLs or influencers or groups or AMAs, and scrutinize them and go listen to their AMAs and look at how many people look and check for bot activity and really be a part of quality control. Now, if you were an agency side, you would be looking at how much do I make from that? Well, how long is that going to, you know what I mean? Like you'd have all different assessment, parameters of why you would make these decisions. So what I find is that by forming a very small team, like 5, 6 people, and these people are dedicated to a certain mission, it's more like a special operations team, I guess. And basically you're able to conduct yourselves in a higher value to the client, to the actual business that you're serving, rather than an agency that has to keep their own survival in mind to be a business, and a successful at that, right, is very hard. So what you do is you wind up getting more resources, more allocation of your people's energy and attention, and a higher value of it into your project, working with some really strong marketers that are on board your idea, and more or less that's what their focus is.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And yeah, it makes sense. Thank for this advice for sure. We are in the cryptocurrency team just absorbing with the arrival of such black rocks on the market and more institutionalists and the big funds like attracting on the crypto market. Is it a plus or minus? And so the market becomes less volatile, but it will also be conducted more naturally and according to the rules. So it is less gates to make the money faster for a crypto enthusiast or somebody else. Maybe you can just comment this one.
Yeah, so everything that is moving now, it's good, right? All this is be good. You have to get more people and more money coming into crypto, or else we're just going to stagnate, right? All of this, especially DeFi, you have to have new entrants coming in and participating, and that's what's making things move right now. So definitely, it's good. Is it going to change? Yes, right? Okay, back in the very first generation, Web 1, what did we think the internet was going to do for us? Freedom of speech. It was going to save us. It was going to be this massive thing. And look what it is now. It's like a privacy control central, right? It didn't actually turn out to be what we thought it was, right? Same with crypto, right? Crypto, DeFi, ethos, whole thing, freedom, financial privacy. Oh, this is going to, it's for the little guy, topple the big guy. And what was going to evolve into, okay, maybe it's going to be a complete monetary control, and you guys know everything I spend every cent on. And that's what cryptocurrency brought to the world. And now we're all using it. And who knows where it's going to wind up. But yes, the big institutions are going to come, big attention will be here, and regulation and rules and whatever is going to be coming down the pipe will evolve this space, and it will become, a part of our lives, just like the internet did. And in Web3, this is going to be where, humans and technology begin to, really become entangled.
Yeah, and every crypto scam thinker just cut the high hair on the head with the, oh man, I think the crypto was a scam. How the hell was doing on the market? Yeah, something like that. And by the way, how do you expect to see the market in the next 1 probably or 2 years? What change we have to come through, and what will be different from what we have right now?
Okay, it's a good question, and it's probably impossible to really have a definitive answer. But look how things are going, right? Look how much unexpected activity has completely inverted things as far as what we think, what we believed in, or whatever, right? So when you think, oh, crypto's going to go, look at all this stuff is happening, and then all of a sudden we have nothing but 9 months of implosions and billions of dollars is just, whatever, evaporating out of people's, lives. So, you can't predict these things. You can't say that we knew in 2020 what 2021 was going to be like. And who knows what's coming like this year, next year. There's all this like cliffhanger stuff. You got people right now, they're like, oh, I'm going to, get out of ETH until, mid-September or whatever. I mean, everyone's trying, has their own play on what they think is going to happen. And how many of us are right? I mean, we're not all right, right? We're just trying to do our best and stay in it. We're excited. We have hope, and we would like it to turn out to be awesome in our way or whatever. But how much of that is actually happening? So in the grand scheme of things, whatever kind of economic situation is going to be coming in the next year or a few months or whatever, really that's becoming a very far out timeline. Like if somebody asked me for a 5-year plan in DeFi, and I just laughed, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You can't look 5 years down the road right now. Like how would I know? You know what I mean? So when it comes to like things are moving so fast and change day to day to day, that it's almost becoming to where you're almost in like a bit of a survival mode, and you have to be paying attention to what's going on and really really prepared to be part of this. And it is just the nature of the landscape. It's going to change and it's going to be unpredictable, and I think that the recent events have shown us just that, how unpredictable things are and how we will continually be surprised. And you have to just basically keep getting smarter and smarter as things go on.
Okay, so your favorite topic, Brad Holland's forecast. Will we see the Bitcoin for $100, $100,000 till the end of this year?
Okay, my forecast on that. Okay, personally, I'm grounded. I am deeply rooted in reality, so it's really hard for me to get on like like, oh, it's gonna do this, it's gonna do that. I think it's here to stay. I think it's gonna go up. I think Bitcoin will continue to be a thing, and I'm a supporter of it. And I would like to say that yes, there's going to be some, really strong growth coming soon. But as much as people have liked for that to happen, have pushed for that to happen, and talked about it happening, it hasn't happened yet. So I think that after the next halving, that there's potential for that, right? So what was the all-time highs before? It was like 69 or 69,000 or something like that US, and so that was going to be something that came with the 2020 halving. So next one, 2024, we can expect that things are going to change. They're going to have another big run up, and it will be bigger than the last one. Where will it be after that? That's another story, right? Like how high can it go, and how high will it stay?
Still not financial advice. You forgot about that.
Yeah.
So,
No, you have to do your own work. You have to look into this yourself. You have to, don't take anyone's word for it. No pitch deck, no white paper, no meme. You have to look. Otherwise, you're gonna wind up disappointed, or you're gonna wind up feeling like, oh, well, what happened? I thought it was gonna go, and no, it didn't. So definitely not financial advice. Don't take my word for it. I would definitely, look into all aspects and see what you can find.
yeah, thank you so much for this speech. Finally, maybe you have some extra words to our audience who are like just crypto enthusiasts, to Web3 builders, scalers of this market, and guys who are really beginners and just waiting for open the gates of the Web3 space. Maybe you have something special for them.
I just think that in closing here, one of the things that I am most excited about is the big picture, right? It's kind of like the transition from, you remember when paperless billing from your bank and your utility bills or whatever, we stopped writing checks and licking stamps, I forgot how long ago. And the very first people to trust the internet to pay all your bills or do all your banking on the internet. Now you would never go look for something, a pen to go pay a bill. So in the same fashion, Web3 is going to be the future, right? Tokenized ecosystems are going to make things much, much faster for everybody, and secure. And you're going to expect that you can see the transparency, right? If you send some money, you can just look on the chain and see where it went. So I think that these properties are going to be a big part of our future. Now, what brands and what people are going to be the ones that actually bring it to market and stay in the market, I don't know. But definitely, I'm really excited that this future that we're seeing coming alive right now, the experiences that are being built, and then what we can expect as far as our own experiences being users of financial systems and financial products. I'm super hopeful. And you know, as far as a marketer in the space, I'm picking really high quality projects to work on that I believe in, that think that these are really strong for the future, or are transformative in nature, or advanced blockchain adoption. Right now, I don't have any meme coins or any kind of things like this of this nature, but I'm a really good supporter of the technology advancements and what's in store for us as people, and how it's going to affect the way we interact on a daily basis.
Brad, thank you so much for joining our podcast. It's so excited to have your thoughts there, and I suppose everybody has their takeaways from this speech, and a lot of stuff they just have to learn and repeat this one and repeat this one and repeat this one once again to get clarified about the things you have told to us. And thank you guys so much for watching this video for the up to the very end. Don't Sure, I just totally agree with the Brad mindset about the marketing game in the Web3, and we are as a marketer doing and active marketing researchers doing this market. It's just so amazing ideas you have to repeat once again in your brain and put your ideas and start doing some actions, because world reacts only for your action, not for your thoughts. And yeah, subscribe to this channel, put your likes, and maybe you have some brilliant insights. You can put this down below in the comments. And see you again. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this show. And thank you so much, Brad, for taking a part in our podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, Vlad. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, touch soon. Bye-bye.